All right, so we have another story for you guys this week. This one was pretty long, so we're going to break it up into two parts. We're going to do a summary of the first half of the story because we're working on summarizing this week. And then we'll also do a summary of the second part, but not until Friday. That'll be the last day that we do our summaries, or the second part of the summary. We'll break this one into 2 days.
Yeah.
So this story is called Clever Jack Takes the Cake. And this is a fairy tale, it says right here. But I bet there's going to be some details along the way that we'll be able to tell that it's a fairy tale. Because normally fairy tales have very made up details and things that don't happen in real life. Something that we noticed before we started reading was that it was by Candace Fleming and illustrated by Brian Karras. So maybe they're related to Mr. Karras. Who knows?
I don't know. This is the first time I've seen somebody's spelling of the last name the same as mine. Usually they have 2 R's.
Pretty cool. But all right, let's get started. So Clever Jack Takes the Cake. One summer morning long ago, a boy named Jack found an invitation slipped beneath his cottage door. It read, His Majesty the King cordially invites all the children of the realm to the princess's 10th birthday party tomorrow afternoon in the castle courtyard. So he got invited to a birthday party. A party, exclaimed Zack, for the princess. His mother sighed. What a shame you can't go. Why not? Asked Jack. Because we've nothing fine enough to give her, his mother replied, and no money to buy a gift. Jack had to admit his mother was right. His pockets were empty except for the matchsticks he always carried. As for their few belongings, a spinning wheel, a threadbare quilt, a pitted axe, what princess wanted those? Did you see that vocabulary word there, Mr. Karras?
I do. Admit.
Admit.
If I remember right, admit means that you tell somebody that they're right.
So Jack had to admit his mother was right, so he's telling her the truth. You are right, Mom. The boy thought a moment. Then I will make her something, he declared. I will make her a cake. From what? Asked his mother. From the dust in the cupboard? From the dirt on the floor? I have a better idea, said Jack. And that same morning, he traded his axe for 2 bags of sugar and his quilt for a sack of flour. He gave the hen an extra handful of seed in exchange for 2 fresh eggs, and he kissed the cow on the nose for a pail of her sweetest milk. He gathered walnuts, he dipped candles, and in the strawberry patch, he searched and searched and searched until he found the reddest, juiciest, most succulent strawberry in the land. Delicious, said Jack as he plucked it from its stem.
Well, if we're going to summarize this first part, just how does Jack get what he needed to make the cake? Well, if I remember right, he was trading in this one. So he traded his axe for 2 bags of sugar. He traded a quilt for a sack of flour. What did he give the hen, Mrs. Callier?
He gave the hen some extra seed to get some eggs to bake the cake, because you need eggs to bake cake.
And then he was really nice and kissed the cow on the nose.
Yeah, that part was kind of weird, but kissed a cow to get some milk, and then he gathered walnuts, he did candles, he did all kinds of stuff to make all those parts and to gather. So he traded all that stuff, or he bartered for it, because he didn't actually have to pay for any of that stuff, right?
Good use of vocab word there.
Okay, let's keep going to find out if Jack makes this delicious cake. Then he set to work churning, chopping, blending, baking. That same night, Jack stood back to admire his creation. 2 layers of a golden sweet cake covered in buttery frosting and ringed with 10 tiny candles. Across the cake's top, walnuts spelled out, Happy Birthday, Princess. And in the very center, in the place of honor, sat the succulent strawberry. What a fine, fine gift, said Jack's mother. Jack grinned. Early the next morning, with combed hair and clean shirt, Jack set off for the castle, holding the cake proudly before him. So that is a pretty magnificent creation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Karras? Creation, remember, is just something that you make. So this is the nice cake that Jack made, and then he's setting himself off for the castle in his nicest clothes. Before long, he came to a bloom-speckled meadow. Perhaps I should pick a bouquet for the princess, thought Jack. Just as 4 and 20 blackbirds rose into the air, like a sudden storm cloud, they swirled around the cake, pecking, nipping, flapping, picking. Get back, hollered Jack. I'm taking this cake to the princess. Ah, cackled the birds, and as quickly as they had come, they were gone, taking with them the walnuts that spelled Happy Birthday, Princess. Jack looked at his gift. At least I still have 2 layers of cake, 10 candles, and the succulent strawberry, he said. Holding the cake proudly before him, Jack continued on to the castle. Before long, he came to a bridge. So things aren't quite going the way Jack wants them to right now. Toll, a voice demanded. Out stepped a wild-haired troll. No one crosses my bridge without paying. But I haven't any money, said Jack. The troll licked his lips. But you do have a cake. I'm taking this to the princess, said Jack. And just how will you get it there, growled the troll. You and your cake are on this side of the river. The princess is on that side. And my bridge is the only way across. Jack considered the problem. Remember, when you consider, you are thinking about your options. I will make you a deal. If you let me cross, I will give you half this cake. Agreed, grunted the troll. So Jack slid out 1 layer, and as the troll slobbered and gobbled across the bridge. So Jack's still bartering, Mr. Karras. He had some crows peck away at his cake. They took all the walnuts, and then this troll wouldn't let him across the bridge, which he needed to cross to get to the princess. So he thought about it, a way to make a deal. So he gave the troll half of his cake. He'd let him across. So things are not quite going the way Jack was hoping.
I hope it gets better for Jack.
I know, I hope so too. Okay, we'll keep going here. On the other side, he looked down at his gift. At least I still have a layer of cake, 10 candles, and the succulent strawberry, he said. Holding the cake proudly before him, Jack continued on to the castle. Before long, he came to the forest. No birds chirping here, no squirrels chittered. As if under a spell, the entire wood lay silent, sleeping. Only the wind seemed to whisper, "Beware, beware." Pulling the cake closer, Jack pressed on. The road grew narrower. The trees grew thicker. The light grew dimmer. Soon it was so dark that Jack couldn't see the cake in front of his face. "Turn back," the wind whispered. "Turn back." "I can't," cried Jack. "I'm taking this cake to the princess." And he reached into his pocket for a matchstick, struck it on his shoe, and lit 1 of the 10 candles. The tiny flame cast a magical circle of light. In its warm glow, Jack carefully made its way forward. But the little candle quickly burned out and snuffed out. So Jack lit a second candle. But he had not gone much farther before it too snuffed out. So Jack lit a third, then a fourth, then a fifth, until the 10th and final candle flickered, fluttered, sputtered to its end. And as it did, the road widened, the trees thinned, and the bright sunlight shone once more. Jack looked down at his gift. At least I still have a layer of cake and the succulent strawberry, he said. So Jack keeps looking on the bright side. At least he keeps saying, at least I've got this, at least I still have this.
At least he stays positive.
Yeah, he's staying positive. I'm wondering though if he's gonna lose even more of his cake. What do you think, Mr. Karras?
I hope not, but I think maybe.
Holding the cake proudly before him, Jack continued to the castle. Before long, he came to a clearing. "Good morning, young sir," called out an old gypsy woman. "Have you come to see Samson dance?" At the sound of his name, the bear beside her rose up on his hind legs. "I don't have time," replied Jack. "I'm taking this cake to the princess." "Then we shall make it a quick dig," said the gypsy, snatching up her concertina. "Oompa, oompa," wheezed the instrument. "Shuffle, shuffle, kick," danced the bear. "Tap, tap, tap went Jack's foot, and as he sat down the cake to dance with his new friends, go. Hey, cried Jack, that bear ate the princess's cake. But chewy. But not the strawberry, said the gypsy. Samson hates fruit. Jack looked down at his gift, and for several seconds he was unable to speak. Finally, he said, at least I still have this, the reddest, juiciest, most succulent strawberry in the land. So we're going to stop right there and let's kind of summarize what's been happening so far. I think that was probably my favorite part, the bear just like dancing around.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah. So let me get out of this part and I'll pull up our story summary so we can summarize the first part of the story there. And you missed part of it, but I tried to catch you up.
I did.
So that's okay.
Gotta love technology.
I know, technology doesn't always work the way we want it to. So it still has my story summary in here from our last story that we read together about Juanita and the beanstalk. So let me get
That's
those
okay. We can take that out. We'll change it.
details out there. And we'll just summarize the first part because this story is so long, so it's easier to summarize it in two parts, I think.
And by doing that, it helps us really remember the story just a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so somebody in the story, who is the main character, Mr. Karras?
I do believe it's Jack in this one. I think it's just like the Juanita story. I think we only have one main character right now. That's Jack.
Jack. Yeah, I'll just say Jack. I was going to give a little more detail there. Okay. So Jack. Jack wanted, what did they want?
Now, I remember before I got kicked out of here, Jack wanted to make a birthday cake for the princess for her 10th birthday.
Mm-hmm. To make a birthday cake for the princess. But what was the problem?
His mom told him that they don't have anything other than the dirt on the floor to try to make a cake with.
Mm-hmm.
So he had no supplies.
Jack had no supplies to make the cake. So he bartered.
He did barter, you're right.
So Jack bartered or traded to get the supplies and baked, whoops, not baked, baked the cake. Now, this says, how did the story end? But we don't know how the story ended yet. We just know about the first part. We do know that Jack kept running across all these people that wanted part of his cake. The troll wouldn't let him across the bridge. We had some crows that took the walnuts. So he did end up making the cake.
Berry?
Yeah. And then that bear, that funny bear, ate half the cake. Jack only has a strawberry left. And then I'll put those important details. So crows ate the walnuts. And the troll, he gave the troll half of his cake. So the troll ate half of the cake and a bear ate the other half of the cake. Okay, so we don't really have a central message or a main idea yet because the story is not finished, but we want to stop halfway through those long stories sometimes to be able to talk about what's going on so far. And we can add to this as we move on to the second part.
That's correct.
So let me